Welcome to I Write Canadian, where you will meet 4 picture book authors, an illustrator, and 1 early chapter book writer. They are here to discuss their work and to help us celebrate I Read Canadian. As we get started, I'd like to begin with a very important message. I Read Canadian acknowledges that we are broadcasting from the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples. This land is home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. They have been telling stories long before us, and we honor their tradition by sharing our own readings today. We encourage you to research the history of this land and the Indigenous people with whom we are sharing it. Hi everyone, my name is Wali Shah, and I am a poet and a writer. I'm so excited to be part of the work that I Read Canadian is doing to promote the wonderful and amazing accomplishments of so many Canadian writers. Let's make this the best I Read Canadian yet. To start things off, I've got a very special poem that I'd like to share with all of you. Here it goes. Remember when teachers would read us stories and we'd wonder if they were true? We'd read books over and over, waiting for a part 2. Sometimes we'd forget to bring books back, but librarians always knew, and sometimes they'd let it slide when our books were overdue. They'd let it slide because going to the library was like a playground for the mind. We'd race around bookshelves, jumping at what we'd find. Stories made us laugh. Stories taught us to be kind, but instead of reminiscing, let's not leave all that behind. See, technology is good, but may also be impeding. We don't need more smartphones. We need more smart people leading. We have to turn the page for our kids to keep succeeding. We need libraries and books. We need to keep our students reading. Thank you. I wrote this poem originally for the Canadian school libraries, and today I want to share it for all of you because you fill those libraries up with amazing books and amazing content. Thank you for what you do. Let's get started. Melanie Florence is the author of Missing the Mama, which won the 2016 Canadian Children Literature Award and the 2017 Forest of Reading Golden Oak Award. Her most recent picture book, Stolen Words, won the Ruth and Sylvia Schwartz Children Book Award.
Hi, I'm Melanie Florence, and I read Canadian. I also write Canadian, but right now we're going to talk about the books that I love to read by Canadian authors and illustrators and that I want to share with you. These are books that I've shared with my own children and given as gifts and shared with friends and highly recommended to students and teachers. So first, Carumba by Marie-Louise Gay. If the cat doesn't say it all, I don't know what does. It's a gorgeous little picture book. I absolutely love it. And it's one that I've been, I read to my kids for years and I've been recommending for years. Next, we have Boohoo Bird and Grumpy Bird by Jeremy Tankard. I love the animals. I love Bird. I don't know what else I can say. They're really great books. Have been recommending and reading those ones for years. Sam and Eva by Debbie Ribpath Ohi. And Gerplin Preen, which is actually written by Linda Sue Park, but illustrated by Debbie. And this is Debbie's latest, but I love them both. I couldn't choose one, so I just decided that I was going to choose both of them. One of my absolute favorites that I recommend to everybody, You Hold Me Up by Monique Gray Smith and Danielle Daniel. I don't even know what to say. It's really a beautiful, simple, just gorgeous book about holding each other up. And in these times, I think this is a book that we could all use, definitely. Town is by the Sea by Joanne Schwartz and Sydney Smith. A multi-award winner, a beautiful book. I love it. It's a touching story. It's beautiful. I keep saying that. They're all beautiful, but I love this book. And lastly, some of my absolute favorites. I cannot even begin to say enough about these books, all by the Fan brothers, who are probably my favorite picture book creators out there. Ocean Meets Sky, which is gorgeous. The Night Gardener, and the latest and one of perhaps my absolute favorite picture book of all time now, The Barnabas Project. It's absolutely stunning. I love this book so much. I have been recommending it to everybody who would listen. It's just a gorgeous picture book by the Fan brothers, who can do no wrong, in my opinion. They're brilliant. I also write Canadian, so I wanted to share a little bit of one of my picture books called Stolen Words, which was illustrated by the amazing Gabrielle Grimard. And it's a book that I wrote for my grandfather. And it really is the story that I wish that we had been able to share. And since we weren't able to have this conversation, I wrote it in a book instead. So it's called Stolen Words. She came home from school today, skipping and dancing, humming a song under her breath, clutching a dream catcher she had made from odds and ends, bits of string, plastic beads, and brightly colored feathers. Her glossy braids danced against her shoulders, swaying with her, black as a raven's wing. "Grandpa," she asked, clutching his hand, spinning under his arm before dropping it again, "how do you say grandfather in Cree?" He stopped breathing for a moment, a lifetime to a 7-year-old. He looked down at her sadly. "I don't remember," he answered. "I lost my words a long time ago." I'm going to stop there. It's about a little girl who helps her grandfather find the words that he lost in residential school. And it's a book that I'm really proud of. I absolutely love Gabrielle's illustrations in this book. And that's it. Thank you so much. I hope I've inspired you to read Canadian and given you some ideas for some amazing Canadian creators that I absolutely admire. So get out there and read Canadian.
Tololwa M. Mollel writes plays and stories in both English and Swahili, which is the national language of Tanzania, where he was born. He is the author of over 20 children's books and performs stories for all ages. He currently lives in Edmonton, Alberta.
I'm happy to be sharing a piece from one of my children's books. But first, here is a gist of the story in the book. A family takes their mortally ill baby to a healer. The healer says only the ancestors can cure the baby. He instructs the parents to hold a big ceremony to induce the ancestors to come from the lands of the night to help. A few days later, vibrant music from a night ceremony bursts out of the family's compound. Kutum, 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 and to pom. Pata, 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 dururu, tidi, 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 giddy, giddy, giddy. Giddy godo. Aye, 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 aye. The music draws numerous guests, including one strange visitor, an angel who has been sent by Molla, God. Molla wants her to put a stop to the loud music. But the music so captivates the angel, she fails to carry out Molla's wish. Other angels are sent one after another to stop the music, and they too fail. This story is narrated by the baby's older sister, Riley. And now here's the piece that she narrates. A burst of light from a lamp brings the ceremony to a stop. The dazzling light turns night into day. City sounds fade away. In the complete hush, we blink in awe and astonishment. The light dims. Night creeps back. Molla at the gate of the compound speaks. "What on earth do you all think you're doing? I have much thinking and work to do. But how can I, with your loud music? All I want is some peace, some quiet to rest, so I can think. Again and again I sent word asking you to stop. I have come to ask you myself." I inch closer to Molla. I say, "We are having a ceremony for my baby brother." Molla turns, casting a circle of light around me. I tell Mollel about Samson and about the ancestors. I reach out to Mollel. Would you please be our guest? Mollel stares at me and around at the sea of eyes watching. Oh, I hope Mollel says yes. We watch and wait. We wait until, slowly moved, Mollel at last also reaches out. I take Mollel's hand, and I'm surprised how small it is, smaller even than mine. Not at all what I imagined God would look like. The hands so young, yet the face so old, and funny thing, the color exactly of my copper earrings. I lead Mollel to a seat, and music starts again. Kutum, 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 and tupom. Bata, 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 tururu, tiri, tiri, ti, giddy, 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 godo. Aye, 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 aye. The ancestors arrive at midnight.
Fast Friends, written by Heather M. O'Connor, is a 2021 Blue Spruce Award nominee. Heather has also written a teen soccer novel called Betting Game and co-authored a dual-language picture book about the Ojibwe horse, coming in 2022.
Hello, my name's Heather O'Connor, and I write Canadian children's books. My most recent book is Fast Friends. It's the story of two kids who become friends speedy quick, even though one of them can't talk. Have you ever wondered how a book goes from here to there? Well, let me tell you, it's an adventure, really. But it's also, surprisingly, a lot like doing a school project or writing a story for your teacher. Before you start an adventure, you have to capture an idea. All those what ifs and how abouts, they're floating all around, but sometimes they're hard to catch. And sometimes there's so many of them, you can't catch them all. I like to write them down in my book so they can't get away. I have all sorts of these idea books. And, oh my gosh, look, one of them's trying to get away right now. Get back in there. Then you get to do research. I love this part. You get to go exploring. It's like a quest for facts. Facts are hiding everywhere. In books, on the internet, at the science center, and sometimes you get to go to interesting places that you've never been before, or you ask people questions. Sometimes you get to do cool things. Like for my next book, I got to go horseback riding. It was so much fun. But if you get stuck, no problem. You just go to the wisest people of all, librarians. They know where all the facts are hidden, and they can help you find them. You just have to show them your library card. And now you're ready to write a first draft. You're going to sprinkle in some ideas and toss in a few facts, and then you're going to stir it up really, really well. And, oh, it's awful! If this was a bowl of soup, you'd toss it out. But don't do that, because your first draft is supposed to be awful. It's time to revise it. So you add a few things, you take things out, you move them around, you change words, and if you need a little extra help, you go to the dictionary and thesaurus. They'll help you find the perfect word for every occasion. Once you've cleaned it up, you read it again. Does it still smell like a skunk wearing stinky socks? Don't worry, help is on the way. A knight gallops in on a shining steed. It's actually my critique partner, but she loves it when I give her a horse and call her a knight. You might call it your peer editor. I'll save you, she says. And she reads your story and suggests ways to make it better. And so you pick up your magic pen and you scribble and you scribble and you scribble some more until finally, ta-da, it's done. Well, you're done, because this is the part where it turns into a group project. The illustrator creates her half of the story, the pictures, and the editor makes sure everything is perfect. The book goes off to be printed and bound and boxed up and delivered to bookstores and libraries and schools and to you. And before you know it, you get to hold your own book in your hands, and it's more beautiful than you ever dreamed it could be. And then you get to share it with young readers, just like you. So, next time you have a school project or a story you have to write, you pick up your pen and choose your own adventure. And maybe one day, you'll be sharing your story with me.
It's a great day being with you. It's a great day walking with you.
Ruth Ohi is the illustrator of over 60 books, 21 for which she is also the author. When not making picture books, Ruth likes to read and hike. Her favorite colors are blue and green.
Hey, happy I Read Canadian. My name is Ruth Ohi, and I'm the author-illustrator of the picture book, Scribble. Scribble is about 3 shapes: circle, square, and triangle. Whoosh, swish, eek, said circle. Ack, said square. Triangle trembled. What are you? Said circle. I am Scribble, said Scribble. That is not a shape, said square. Too many points, said triangle. Do you want to play? Said Scribble. With you? Said square. Together? Said triangle. But why? Said circle. And what they discover is that when they work together, using their differences, they can make great new things. When I draw characters, whether they're people, puffy dinosaurs, or furry forest friends who don't always agree, I like to start with basic shapes to draw them. I like to play with backgrounds to show where my character could be. Is Squirrel in a sunny field or a snowy one? Thanks for listening. I hope you had fun. Thanks for helping us celebrate I Read Canadian.
Makes me happy now. Got no trouble, got no care, 'cause seeing you. It's a great day being
Anitha Rao-Robinson recently gave up her accounting career to devote more time to writing and helping animals. Her picture book, A Family For Faru, is about a boy's journey to find an orphaned rhino a family. Anitha also hosts a Kindness is Everything blog and podcast.
My name's Anitha Rao-Robinson, and I'm here to talk about my debut picture book, A Family For Faru. It's a story of a young boy, an orphaned rhino, and their journey to find the rhino a new family. The inspiration for the story came in 2016 when my family and I went to South Africa. It was such a wonderful trip. We went on these amazing safaris and saw so many beautiful animals in the wild, including endangered elephants, lions, giraffes, and rhinos. But we didn't just see animals, we also saw these people patrolling the area, and they were armed with guns. Our guide told us that they were part of the anti-poaching unit, and it was their job to protect the animals, because even though the animals were on a protected reserve, poachers were still able to get in. Our guide also told us about an initiative conservationists are looking into to protect rhinos. One of the main reasons rhinos are killed is because many people wrongly believe that a rhino's horn has medicinal value. But that's not true. A rhino's horn is made of the same substance our fingernails are. So these conservationists are trying to come up with a dye that they can inject into a rhino's horn that is toxic to humans but safe for rhinos. I remember seeing images of pink-horned rhinos all over social media as a way of introducing the idea. It was such a wonderful trip, but eventually we had to come back home. And when I got back, I couldn't stop thinking about all the animals I had seen and all the stories I had heard. And our daughter had also stayed on in South Africa to volunteer at a rhino orphanage. And she shared some of her stories of what it was like when these little rhinos would be brought into the sanctuary, so traumatized both physically and mentally by what they had seen happen to their mums. But with a lot of love and care from the sanctuary staff, these rhinos recovered, and they were able to be introduced to other rhinos at the sanctuary. So hearing her stories and her experiences along with my own, I just knew I had a picture book in the making. And 4 years later, here it is. A Family for Faru. I'm so excited to share a little bit of the story with you. It's beautifully illustrated by Karen Patkau. She made Faru as adorable as I imagined him when I was writing the story. The sun creeps above the treetops and warms the air with the smell of lemongrass. Titania inhales the tangy scent. Beside him, Faru rubs against a tree. Titania scratches the orphan rhino's back. I know it's been days since we came upon you all alone. Mama's been trying to find you a new family. Titania looks out across the stream. Maybe it's time I tried instead. Titania, Mama calls. Bring me some waterberries, please. Titania pulls off handfuls of berries, offers some to Faru, and puts the rest in his basket for his mother. He dashes back to the house. Too fast. The basket of berries slips from Titania's arms. Stop, Faru, Titania shouts. Badoom, badoom, badoom. Faru doesn't stop. He gallops forward, stomping, crushing, squishing, staining his feet pink. That was our lunch, Titania scolds. The little rhino lowers his head. Mama smiles. It's all right. You can pick more berries later. Faru runs in circles, kicking up dust. Come on, Titania says to Faru. Let's go find some rhinos. And they set off.
Being with you. It's a great day walking with you.
Mahtab Narsimhan is an award-winning author with numerous critically acclaimed books, nominated for several awards, including The Third Eye, which won the Silver Birch Fiction Award. She is inspired by the desire to make sense of the world through stories and is deeply committed to representing diversity in her books.
Hello everyone, welcome to my home and to my office. My name is Mahtab Narsimhan and I'm a Canadian author and I love reading Canadian books. So today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how I started into being a writer and publishing all of my books. When I was a kid, I loved reading. I had never thought of myself as a writer. I didn't even want to write. All I wanted to do was read. That was my extracurricular activity. And I absolutely fell in love with this particular novel, which I read in grade 5. It's called The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, and I'm sure many of you have read this novel. This was the novel that made me realize that I love the fantasy genre. Since then, I have pretty much read this book every year because it's such a favorite. But fast forward to 2003. I was already in Canada by that time. My entire family was here. But that was the year that a really tragic incident occurred with me. I lost my father to cancer. And as a coping mechanism, I started maintaining a little bit of a diary where I would write about incidents back home, things that I never wanted to forget. And somehow that diary morphed into writing down notes about a story idea that I had. And that story involved a lot of fantasy, which is my favorite genre, Indian mythology, Indian culture, and all of that became my first book, which was called The Third Eye. I have to say I am so proud of this book, because before this I had never had any experience in writing. I had not taken any courses. All I knew was I wanted to write a book. I wanted to dedicate it to my father, and I just wanted to make sure that it got published. So this took about 4 years and 20 rewrites, and it became a book. And I've never looked back since, and I'm so very proud of it. But today I wanted to talk to you about a different book, which is called Genie Meanie. And this is actually my 10th book, which comes out with Orca in February 2021. This is about a young girl, Kiara, who has inherited a genie. Now, I'm sure many of us have thought, what if I had magic at my fingertips? What if I was a modern day Aladdin and I had someone to do my bidding and grant me anything that I wanted? And that is what that is the thought that I had, and I said, why not write a story about it? So 8-year-old Kiara has a bully in her class, and when she inherits this genie from her grandmother, she's ecstatic. She thinks she's going to be a modern day Aladdin. Her problems are going to be solved. Unfortunately, she's very wrong. I'm going to read you a little bit from the first chapter, just a tiny bit. I missed Gran so much, it was like having a stomachache that wouldn't quit. No one could fill the hole in my heart that she'd left when she died. Not Grandpa, who was visiting from India, and not my parents or my best friend, Baileng. Grandpa had brought a box of treasures Gran wanted me to have, but this made me miss her even more. Gran was the only one who'd understood that school was tough. Kids could be super mean. She'd encourage me to stand up for myself if anyone tried to bully me. Never give up trying to do the right thing, no matter how hard it is, she would say. But try not to hurt anyone either. How was I going to face another year of school without her? I frowned at the odds and ends I tipped out of the box onto my bed. Why had Gran left these things for me? A crow's feather, a yellow pencil stub, a necklace made of wrinkled brown beads, a rusty key, and a small glass bottle with some kind of spice in it. I searched for a note. Nothing. What was I going to do with the spice? Mom didn't let me use the stove. Gran had known that. All of this stuff was junk. Wait a minute. I stared at the bottle. It was labeled Zen Garam Masala. A wisp of blue smoke seemed to waft up and down inside it, and I had the weirdest feeling. It was trying to escape. So I hope you enjoyed this little excerpt, and I hope that you will pick up the book and you'll finish the story, because it's really fun. And visit your local independent bookseller. Talk to the booksellers out there and see if they can give you any recommendations on the kind of books that you love to read, and read as much Canadian as you can, because there is so much good stuff out there. So take care, stay safe, and keep reading. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. Bye for now.
Thank you so much for tuning into this year's I Read Canadian programming and for celebrating the amazing work of the authors in this country. We look forward to seeing you next year, and look forward to seeing you celebrate great Canadian literature every day. Thank you for joining us.
Got no trouble, got no care, 'cause seeing you, it's a great day being with you. It's a great day walking with you. It's a great day talking with you. It's a great day seeing you. It's a great day being with you. It's a great day walking with you. It's a great day talking with you. It's a great day. Hi